you doing, everybody? And welcome to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. Today it is Friday, a Friday preview, a Super Bowl preview day here on Friday. Austin's with me. Rogan is sadly gone again. Austin, how we doing on this Friday?
Trage, this week kind of went by fast. It was one of those weeks that went by fast, but still kind of slow at the same time. We're finally here to Friday, but it took us a while to get to Friday. And you look back and it's yeah, this week did go by a little bit slow, but at least we're here to the weekend. We got not a whole lot to cover. Wisconsin wise, I feel like there's obviously going to be games going on, but the Super Bowl that I feel like a lot of people are talking about for the fact that it's kind of mixed emotions on who to cheer for, if you know what I mean. We'll get into that. But besides that, it's a good Friday. Not Good Friday, as in Easter and all that, but it's a good Friday just in general, just because it's the weekend. And I'm excited for the weekend, Trage. Sit back and relax a little bit. Heading back to the homestead, actually. Heading back to the Greenwood. Got a couple things I gotta do there. Ref a little sixth grade basketball. Don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, boy.
But, duty calls when duty calls, and the big man back in Greenwood, Trevor Wietrick, asked if I could ref. I'm like, you know what? You filled in for me one time, so I will make up that and come back to Greenwood and ref. So that's what I'll be doing on Saturday, and then watch the big game Sunday. Trage, you always ask me how my days are going. How is your day going? What are you up to?
Fantastic.
That's it?
We're working here and there. We're providing for the community. We're giving farmers power, electrician life. We're powering up farms. We're powering up houses every day. It seems like it's something new. So we're just, getting by. And then I come home and jump on here. A lot of people have all day to prepare for this kind of stuff. We don't have all day. We have
about 5 minutes before we shoot.
Yeah.
To prepare.
Yeah, and if I get anything done before that, it's about 15 minutes before we start. It's quick jump on the notebook, jot down little notes here and there, or I'll look throughout the day, I'll look at stuff, and maybe if I hear something on the radio or whatever it is, Instagram, I'll punch it into my phone. I have so many screenshots. My camera roll has got oh gosh. I gotta look, hold on.
My camera roll is pretty filled up. My what's it called?
I don't even know how to see.
My iCloud system. My iCloud system's not very happy at me because I haven't synced any of my photos because I got 956 photos and 77 videos. I don't know how I have that many. It was that trip to Italy, Trage. Have a lot of photos from there. I mean, you got to take photos.
How many photos did you say? How many photos?
956.
I have
465 of them. And if I don't get full storage, 465 of them will be deleted if my phone somehow just dies. So not necessarily good. But
I have 3,866.
Lord Almighty.
Photos. Well, that's what I'm getting at. Is the majority of is I'll go through the day and if I'm on Facebook or if I'm on Instagram, I don't have a notebook with me to jot all this stuff down if I see something that's interesting. So I'll just screenshot it. Well, I got screenshots in there from last year Brewers.
Trage, I was going to say, there's a delete button you can click. Delete.
I got to go. I went through it at one point. It's like my emails. I got 7,000 emails sitting inside my thing. My app on my phone has the red dot above it, and it says 7,000. Hold on. I think it's more than that. Hold on. Give me a second here. 21,770.
That's your email?
That's my email. At some point, you just look at it and you say, I don't even feel like going through this anymore.
I feel like you need to have – it's like spring cleaning, Trage, but for your laptop or your phone. You got to go through that stuff and just start deleting shit.
I just feel like I have to have burner phones. I have to get a new email every single time when it gets over 100. I'll just get a new email. I'll move on.
Or just delete stuff.
3/4 of my emails are from the GOP. Buffalo Wild Wings is on here.
I got to keep those.
I'm not really sure when I stayed at Sonesta Hotel, but they keep sending me emails I stayed there after.
Always trying to get your money.
This guy's talking about border laws. I mean, I'm going through here and I don't even know half of these half of these things. I'm like, what am I looking at right now? I did get a notification though. We have moved up to the 19th best podcast in the state of Wisconsin. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, you told us that. You told us that, Trey. And my first question was, how many podcast, like in the whole state of Wisconsin, like out of any categories, or is that just a sports category?
It was top 100 list. I can see if I can't pull her up one more time here, but no, it was right there, 100 best Wisconsin podcasts, and they have everything on here from like Wisconsin Family Connection. There's another sports one right there. Wisconsin Egg on Demand. I mean, just a bunch of them. Wisconsin Life, As Goes Wisconsin. A bunch of random, like, the number one podcast on this list is Wisconsin's Morning News. So we're losing to the actual news, but we don't really report that. But, I mean, from this list that I found here, we report the weather every once in a while.
That's news. Hey, someone has to.
Exactly. So what I'm getting out of that is exciting news. We're moving up in the world. And if you get over to our Facebook page, we shared the link today to our apparel on Game Day Supply's website. They got apparel out now. They added another sweatshirt, and I believe they're doing T-shirts next. But they got all kinds of stuff down there. So if you have a special request, I guarantee you they could fill it. So definitely all interesting stuff right there. We're getting there. We're moving up. We're moving up in the world, and we got to move up in the sports talk world. That's what I'm saying right now. We got to talk about some sports here. Bucks, they did something. If we want to say they did something, they did something. They traded for Pat Bev. We got Pat Beverly coming to the Bucks for Cameron Payne and a 2027 second rounder. We don't have any draft picks left, I can tell you that much, because we traded how many did we trade for Jay Crowder that time? It was like 4 or 5.
I have no idea, but I'm pretty sure it was not worth the trade.
No, it was like 4 or 5. And now we just sent another one. I don't think we have any second rounders for a very long time. Also, Robin Lopez was sent to the Kings for cash. So we got cash back out of that deal. I don't know. Pat Bev, the Bucks got a little bit older with Pat Bev. Bev's a little bit older there. Good defender, can score it a little bit yet. I mean, I don't know. I don't hate the deal. I don't hate the trade. I also don't know if it's the one move that I was hoping for out of the Bucks there. We got to wait and see, I guess. I mean, Doc had Pat Bev on his team. Pat Bev and Damian Lillard had a feud back in the day, so I wonder if they're going to mend that feud. I know Pat Bev said in his podcast right after he was traded, he's like, I got to go apologize to Dame now or something like that. So definitely interesting. What do you think of the Bucks' moves there at the trade deadline?
Well, trade, we said we needed a perimeter defender. And we got probably one of the best ones in the league. This guy has played on so many teams. I saw something. I see some of the comments were kind of funny, how he's kind of just getting passed around from team to team. But he honestly he's a bulldog, if you want to call him one of them. Like he'll get in your face. He gets a lot of technicals. But some of them are kind of funny. One of them, he got teed up and thrown out the game because when he was on the Lakers, he showed the ref a picture from the actual camera, and he asked the ref how that wasn't a foul on like a LeBron layup or something that they ended up losing the game. I can't remember. But he's a really good defender. I think it was what was it? I think it was Paul George. Paul George has a podcast and with someone else. And I think it was Paul George and Karl Anthony Towns. They were talking about Patrick Beverly and how he kind of like the coaches would say like the defensive plan, and Pat Bev would be like, nah, we should do this because he did so much studying or whatever on that guy. And he's like, all right, I mean, you're the coach, but I'm just saying this would work. But Pat Bev is a really, really good perimeter defensive player, but just a really good defensive player in general. And he kind of is he as good of a shooter that Drew Holiday is? Probably not. But we need just a defender right now that we were asking for, and we got him. I think Pat Bev, honestly, is a really good player that that we got. And also good thing is that he played underneath Doc Rivers when he played for the LA Clippers. So Doc Rivers knows him pretty well there, and he averaged 6.3 points per game across 47 games for Philadelphia this season, and this will be the sixth team since the start of 2021 or 2020-2021 season for Pat Bev. So like I said, he's been around a few teams, but one of those was the Timberwolves that we played yesterday there. So obviously he's been through a lot. He knows a lot. He knows a lot of the game. He's a veteran. I think this was a good pickup. Now we didn't get the player. We didn't get Alex Caruso that we thought we could get. We didn't get Andrew Wiggins that we thought we could get. We didn't get really a score, but when Middleton comes back, we'll have that score. We'll have a really good. I think we'll have a better player than Cameron Payne was. Cameron Payne played off the bench. He scored sometimes, but I don't think he was really that effective. I think Pat Bev adds a little bit better. He adds a little bit more to the table when it comes to defense, at least. I think it's a good pickup. And we gave him Cameron Payne a 2027 second round pick that we'd probably pick up some random player anyways that will never play, because that's just kind of how it works and for the Bucks organization. So overall, I thought it was a pretty good pickup. It was one I didn't expect either. I'll tell you that much.
No, I didn't expect it at all. I didn't even know it was in the talks for Pat Bev. Like you said, throughout his career, I mean, not much of a scorer, more of a I'm going to get in your face defender. Kind of reminds you of a PJ Tucker kind of style of a guy there. I mean, he's going to get in your face. You can put him on one of the best guys. He's going to get underneath of his skin. That's where the Bucks needed to address. They don't have a very good defender, and now you have it in Pat Bev. So definitely an interesting move. Robin Lopez traded for cash considerations. I mean, Robin Lopez was kind of just taking up a spot. He wasn't really a factor for the Bucks at all. He was kind of just taking a spot on the bench there. They didn't really use him as a backup center simply because he didn't even play as a secondary to Brook Lopez in most games. When Brook was out, now Robin Lopez came in. But other than that, I mean, it wasn't his show at all. So definitely interesting there. The move by the Bucks, getting some cash back though. Maybe they're going to use that in the buyout scene. I got to look up. I was just reading up on it today. And there's a buyout period of guys who are currently, it's buyout season now after the trade deadline happens. So I was just kind of looking at what the buyout is, and you have the ability to buy out a guy's contract, but the Bucks have to be under like $12.2 million to be able to get that player. So looking at some of the options, Kyle Lowry's still out there. I know Victor Oladipo is now out there, along with guys like Killian Hayes. He's out there from the Pistons. He just got released. Spencer
I heard
Dinwiddie,
he wasn't very good, though. That's why he got released.
Well, yeah, good chance of that. But it is the Pistons, too. So
I mean, when you get released by the Pistons, you know you're doing something wrong, Trey.
Yeah. Spencer Dinwiddie's out there, but I believe the Bucks can't afford him with that 12.2. Marcus Morris, Joe Harris, I don't think the Bucks can afford his contract either. So those are some of the bigger names there, but I did see Victor Oladipo's name did come up, and I could see Victor Oladipo being a contract that the Bucks could pick up and possibly bring him on as another guard with pretty good defense. Still can score it too. As long as he stays healthy, that'd be an interesting one. So it's officially buyout season now. It's going to be interesting to see what the Bucks do in that aspect. I just wanted to look around and just see some of the bigger trades that happened.
I saw Gordon Hayward got traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I heard that was a pretty big trade there for them.
Yeah, and the Pacers, they traded Buddy Hield for Marcus Morris, Korkmaz, and 3 second-round picks from the 76ers. So Sixers kind of unloading a little bit, but they got Buddy Hield back in that trade. Pacers got a lot back in that deal looking at the pick-wise. Pistons are not the Pistons. Well, Pistons unloaded while also getting some young prospects there from the Knicks. The Knicks got Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks. Pistons got in return Quentin Grimes and Malachi Flynn, Evan Fournier, and Ryan Archie
Archie
yeah,
Diacono.
Archie Diacono, yes.
I think that's how you say it. It's a tough name. That one's a tough name. I know who you're talking about.
I think you're right. Yes, he went back to the Pistons there along with 2 second-round picks. So definitely a lot of moves happening in the NBA. A lot of teams around the Bucks got better along with the Bucks. So definitely going to be interested to see how the rest of this shakes out here. But with that, I want to get into the Bucks matchup here coming up tonight. That'll be between the Bucks and the Hornets, I believe. Yes, that is the Hornets. Can't wait for that matchup. Hopefully the Bucks can get right again. So, Austin, who are we seeing for some key guys to watch out for there for the Hornets in this one?
Yeah, I mean, Hornets, they're 10-40, 5-19 away, and the Bucks are 21-5 at home there. Bucks have an 85% chance to win this one, even with possibly Damian Lillard being out. We know that Chris Middleton's out and Brook Lopez there. So both those guys are out. Damian Lillard maybe. Guessing that's a game-time decision there for them. When you look at the Charlotte Hornets and their stats, just got to pull it up here real quick. They're led by Terry Rozier in points with 23.2. LaMelo Ball has only played in 22 games here, and he is out. I don't know. He's probably not playing. He says out. I don't know for how long, but he averaged 23.9 points per game. So definitely a big miss there for the Charlotte Hornets. Nick Richards is leading the team in rebounds with 7.9. Terry Rozier is leading the team in not only just points with 23.2, but also assists with 6.6 and steals with 1.1. And then Nick Richards leading the team in blocks with 1.3 there. They also have Miles Bridges leading the team, or not leading the team, but has 21.9 points per game. Brandon Miller, I'm pretty sure that's the guy out of Alabama there. That was one of the better picks. Were you going to say something or no?
Almost got arrested.
Yeah, almost got arrested.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
That was a bad situation at Alabama. But yeah, I'm with you.
And then he's averaging 16.5. And then Gordon Hayward, no more. No more a Charlotte Hornet there. And then they have PJ Washington, 13.6 points per game. As a team, they average 108.7. But I think that accounts for LaMelo Balls. So it's probably technically a little bit lower, and Gordon Hayward. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what kind of Charlotte Hornets team comes into Milwaukee there. Kind of not young. They got Terry Rozier. I feel like he's been in the team or in the NBA for a while, but Miles Bridges has a little bit of experience. Brandon Miller, I think he's pretty much a rookie. PJ Washington, he's been there for a few years, but definitely not the most experience there. Terry Rozier hasn't played in a whole lot of games either. He's only played in 30 games, but he is active as of now. And definitely interesting. Nick Richards, like I was talking about, he leads the team in rebounds and blocks, only adds 9.3 points per game. So definitely not the biggest threat when it comes to scoring from him, but definitely a big rebounder out of them. They average 40 rebounds per game and 24 assists per game, which I think is pretty impressive, honestly. I don't know what the Bucks average, but I feel like when you're in the 20 range for assists, that's pretty impressive. When I look at the Bucks, I just want to see what they. Okay, well, the Bucks average 26 assists per game, so I guess that is kind of just what they do in the NBA. I feel like we look at too many Badger stats and who they play, and like the assists are just way low compared to the NBA, but NBA, they'd be scoring a lot more points than 68. So makes sense why that is the case there. Charlotte, not a very good team. I think they're above the Pistons right now in the standings, in the Eastern standings. So we kind of know how well the Pistons are. And so honestly, this shouldn't be that much of a game, but especially with the Bucks at home. We should be able to take care of this one at the Pfizer.
Should. That would be the key word there. Should be able to take care of this one at the Pfizer. Like you said, I mean, this is a scrappy Charlotte Hornets team. You definitely can't take them lightly if you are the Milwaukee Bucks. This is a game they got to get right. You got to have some kind of spark. Somebody's got to step up for this Bucks team and help move it forward. I don't know who it's going to be. I really don't, but somebody's got to step up here pretty soon. If it's Pat Connaughton, I mean, good. If it's Bobby, if it's Jay Crowder, I really don't care at this point. Somebody's got to do it because as of right now, like you said, you're going to have guys out in the likes of possibly Lillard and Middleton, and Jay Crowder's a game-time decision now. And then you still don't have Pat Bev yet, so Cameron Payne is missing off your bench, so now you got to rely on somebody else to step in there and take those minutes. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what the Bucks do with this game here, especially missing a backup point guard in Cameron Payne, who takes over that role there as that backup point guard coming off the bench if Damian Lillard plays. If he doesn't play, then who is your starting point guard and who's coming off the bench after that? Because then it's really going to test the Bucks' depth farther into what Doc Rivers is willing to do. We haven't seen a lot out of Bieskamp or Andre Jackson Jr., so maybe we see them in this game. I don't know. It's definitely going to be interesting right there to see what happens. But Bucks taking on the Hornets. That'll be a 7 o'clock tip there tonight. I don't know. I believe that one's on Bally. That one will be on Bally Sports there from the Pfizer, I believe. So definitely going to be a good game there. Next, I want to touch into some of our sponsors here. And I want to look at your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty. Call Peggy, Sue, or Anna to find your dream home, or if you're looking to sell, find them on Facebook at your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty, or stop in and see them at their location in Marshfield. And another one of our sponsors, Pittsville Farm and Home Center. At the store, they serve you anything from hydraulic hoses to red roses. Stop in and see the awesome crew at Pittsville Farm and Home Center in Pittsville. With that, I want to move on here. I want to get into the college basketball weekend. So just looking at Saturday, I was just looking for some notable matchups. Any good ones out there? Haven't seen one yet. Illinois and Michigan State from East Lansing. That could be a good game. Other than that, Kansas and Baylor. There you go. Number 4, Kansas taking on number 13, Baylor from Allen Fieldhouse. That should be a pretty good matchup there. That's about it for big matchups on Saturday there in ranking-wise. Looking at Sunday, nothing.
I'm surprised by how not like average Miami is this year. I feel like Miami's always been a really tough team the past few years, definitely. But this year they're not that strong. Them and Louisville. Louisville's definitely declined as a program. Louisville always used to be really good when they had Pitino there. I think it was Pitino, right?
Yeah, Rick Pitino.
Yeah, and now they're just declined majorly. So those are two teams in the ACC at least. I'm kind of surprised that they're just not that good. And North Carolina plays at Miami this weekend on Saturday. So possibly could be one to watch there, but I just don't think North Carolina is going to lose to that Miami team. But I'm just surprised that Miami's not that good.
This is a Miami team that scored 38 points in total against Virginia. That was a week ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad news. I mean, Virginia pack line defense, they can slow you down. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from the way Virginia plays defense, but 38 points in a college basketball game is rough. That's rough to look at, especially when you give up 60 points. That's a rough one to look at. I believe at the half, I don't even know if they had 20 points. Let me double check that. 29-17 at the half. That's bad. That's bad basketball all the way around. So definitely interesting right there. Miami taking on North Carolina this weekend. Should be, I mean, looking at most of the ranked matchups coming up this weekend, I'm not seeing a lot of crazy matchups. There's probably going to be somebody who loses. But, I mean, looking at grand scheme of things, I don't see a great matchup except for Baylor and Kansas. That should be a good one. But other than that, I mean, it's a downhill slope for the rest of them. So, with that, I want to move on to our game of the weekend here. Badgers taking on Rutgers. Badgers 3 straight losses going to Jersey Mike's Arena there in New Jersey to take on Rutgers there on Saturday. I believe that's 11 o'clock tip. Yep, 11 o'clock tip in the morning there. Badgers, 3 straight losses. Rutgers coming in. They beat Michigan at Michigan. They beat them by 10. And then they just came off a win against Maryland by 3. So, oh boy, here we go. Rutgers starting to get a little bit better, going up against this Badger team. This is a Rutgers team that only lost by 8 to Purdue at Purdue. So, or no, this was at home. It was at home against Purdue, but they only lost by 8. So this isn't a terrible Rutgers team. They can score the basketball and they can defend. This is a worrisome game right now if you are a Badger fan. So, Austin, what are we seeing for stats there from the Rutgers Scarlet Knights? Some of the guys we got to watch out for in this one.
Yeah, Rutgers, they're led by Andre Hyatt. He averages 11.4 points per game for them there from out of 22 games. I'm going to butcher this guy's last name, but I think I might be able to get it right. Clifford Omori. He averages 8.9 rebounds per game, leads the team in that, and 3 blocks per game also. So that's pretty impressive there from the big guy. He also adds 10.9 points per game. Derek Sims leads the team in both assists and steals with 3.2 steals per game, or assists per game, and then 1.3 steals per game. So pretty good defender and point guard in general from Derek Simpson there from him. Overall, this team averages 66.4 points per game and 38.6 rebounds. So we've seen better, but once again, they just beat Michigan, who we just lost to, and they beat a pretty decent Maryland team. Maryland's been putting up a pretty good, decent fight against some other teams there. So this team, hey, we've sent how many stats on how many teams trade, even going back to even the football, even when the Badgers football, we were like, oh, well, we should be able to win this game. Like when the Badgers played against Indiana and they ended up losing that one. Or I think that was Indiana. And we were like, oh, Badgers should be able to take care. Trage, I don't know, man. I don't know what Badger team we're gonna get. I don't know what team we're gonna get on Saturday there. And just looking at like Rutgers, they lost to Princeton. First game of the season, they lost to Princeton 68-61. Princeton is a pretty good Ivy League school for basketball. They're probably going to make the tournament just by winning the Ivy League there. But they lost to Illinois also and Wake Forest. They beat Seton Hall, who, I mean, we've talked about is a pretty decent team. And they put up some decent fights against some teams, but just haven't been able to scratch it out. Like they only lost to Purdue 60-68 there. Kind of got walled by Illinois the game before that. Lost to Penn State. But like we said, beat Michigan at Michigan, beat Maryland at Maryland. They're not on a hot streak, but on a winning streak. And that's more than what the Badgers have. We're going to have to find something else or find something that we can take advantage of. But if Rutgers have watched any film on the Badgers, and we've talked about this, they're probably going to double the post, probably going to double Crowell underneath the basket and make them have tough decisions there. It's gonna be an interesting to watch. I feel like we've always struggled when we go to Rutgers, and that could be a case again there. I don't want to bash. I'm always trying to be a half glass full type of guy, and I don't want to bash the Badgers, but how we've been playing, and it just our offense hasn't looked the same since we played some other teams there. I don't know how this game is going to go. Like they're not. Obviously, Rutgers not the best scoring team, but we also gave up 80-something points to Penn State, who wasn't the best scoring team either. So our defense was a little scratchy. I feel like our defense played good against Purdue. Even Michigan was a winnable game. Michigan's not a very good team, gave up 72 points, but still we should have been able to win this game. And but our defense gave up a pretty big lead against Nebraska. I just don't know what Badger team we're going to get, Trage. And that's what scares me, honestly. Especially going to Rutgers on Saturday.
Yeah, and you look at this Rutgers team and you look at their big guys. And the first guy you look at there is, I was just looking at him, Amoriu. I'm going to call him Clifford. We're going to call him Clifford. I think you tried to say his name there.
Big Cliff.
We're going to call him Big Cliff. Big Cliff's sitting there at 6'11" and 240 pounds. A pure guy. He's from Nigeria. That guy has got some lanky arms, and he's a shot blocker. So I'm not even sure if they're going to have to double Steven Crowell because you got that guy in the paint. And then barring that he gets into foul trouble. They have a secondary big man there named Emmanuel Ugabo. He's 6'10 and 260 pounds, and he's also from Nigeria. They got some big boys on the interior for Rutgers. They got some big, lanky dudes that can get after you. And then you look at another guy who I believe, I'm not sure if he was injured to start the season or what was going on there, but Jeremiah Williams has only played 2 games for the Scarlet Knights. He's a guard. He just played in the last 2 games, the Michigan game and the Maryland game, and those are his 2 games on the season so far. So I'm not sure if he had injuries or what was keeping him out of the lineup here, but in 2 games, he's got 28 points in those 2 games. So getting him back is definitely making Rutgers play a lot better basketball too. That is a big boost. So you got to watch out for another guy from this Rutgers team. He doesn't show up really on the scouting report yet, but he's still a very good player along with that Hyatt. I mean, this Rutgers team, definitely not a team you can just take advantage of. You look at their record and you say, they're not so good. We should be able to handle our business here. That's what Michigan looked like. And now you're heading on the road once again to Rutgers. Like you said, scoring's been down for the Badgers, but they haven't been able to knock down the 3 ball, and it's led to this drought. How do they respond? Are they going to be able to get to the basket? Are they going to be able to get to the rim and finish at the rim? That's what I want to see in this game from the Badgers here. They're going to have to. If the shots aren't falling from the outside, they're going to have to be able to get to the rim and hit it there, because otherwise we're going to watch another display of basketball like we did against Michigan, and it's going to be the same outcome, maybe even worse, because I believe this Rutgers team is better than what Michigan is. Michigan looks worse because they don't have Doug McDaniel when they travel to road games. They only have him at home games, so that does help out Michigan for home games. But, I still don't think Michigan's that great of a team. This Rutgers team is better. The Badgers play anything like they did against Michigan, that game's going to be over with fast. This game against Rutgers will be over with fast, especially on the road, traveling to a hostile environment there at the RAC. You don't want to get in a hole. The Badgers have to come out hot in this game. They got to take care of business. They have to take care of it on the defensive end. They have to limit turnovers. I can't believe a Wisconsin team could have turnover problems like they do. This Badger team turns basketball over like it's no other, and they got to figure it out in this game. It's simple as hang on to the basketball and don't make stupid decisions. That's about as simple as it is. Right now, a lot of turnovers off of stupid decisions. They have to eliminate that in this game here. And Greg Gard, I know I freaked out about him yesterday. I know that, I was feeling that's what it was. And he's got to prove it here. He does. I've seen a lot of people talking about that game against Michigan, and a lot of people saying how, it's the players, it's not just Gard, and this and that, and giving Gard this pass that the Badgers are playing like this. It's the players. The players aren't playing good. Doesn't that go back to the other day when we were talking about development of players? Doesn't that go back to that point? And in all reality, I see a lot of people saying that this Badger team isn't that good in all reality. They caught fire for a little while, and that's why they look so good. Doesn't that fall back on Greg Gard then? That this is the team we have out here now? That he hasn't been recruiting in the right spots? That he's been holding on to these guys? That he hasn't developed some of these guys? Doesn't that fall back onto his lap and say, why is this what you're throwing out there then? We took a basketball program that used to be pretty darn good and pretty darn consistent, and now we're very inconsistent. We get to the month of January, February, and this Badger team takes a dip. They fall off the face of the earth. I get you're going to have losing streaks. I'm not saying you're not going to have losing streaks within a season, but you have losing streaks where other teams are just outplaying you. They're hitting more shots than you. Not the mistakes that we're seeing right now out of the Badgers right now, where it's turnovers, mental mistakes that are destroying this Badger team through and through. That's where my problem comes into it. And also, I'm watching some of the play calling that Greg Gard is drawing up out there. And I'm saying, this Chucky Hepburn 3 the other day, They drew that up coming out of a timeout. It was initially supposed to be a look for Klesmit. The look for Klesmit wasn't there, so immediately it turned into a Chucky Hepburn one-on-one. Why does it immediately turn into a Chucky Hepburn one-on-one deal then? That can't be how it is. You cannot have just one initial look and then that's it. That's the play. You know what I mean? You can't set up a play and there's only one look you're going to get out of it. And if it's not there, we're going to rely on somebody going one-on-one to try to hit a shot. I don't like that. I don't like that explanation. I don't like that decision that everybody says that was made there. I thought that was terrible. I really did. And it's been a consistent thing. I'm not saying that Greg Gard, he has recruited well in the past. These two recruits he has coming in this next year, 2 4-star recruits, very good recruits. I won't say they aren't good recruits. He might be a good recruiter. I don't think he's a good head basketball coach. I don't. That's my personal opinion on Greg Gard. I don't think he's a good head basketball coach. I don't think he can make in-game adjustments. I don't. And I don't think he can be relied on to make the decisions that need to be made throughout a game. He might be a fantastic assistant coach. He was an assistant coach for Bo Ryan for 20-some years, even more before that. I mean, Greg Gard was with Bo Ryan the entire way. Greg Gard was Bo Ryan's recruiting guy. He might be a good recruiter. I'll give him that. He can recruit guys. He can draw up the X's and O's, but I don't think he knows how to adjust. I don't think he knows how to coach a big game, and I don't think he knows when, you look at that Nebraska game. What did we talk about? Nebraska went on like a 15-2 run or a 20-2 run or something like that, and they came all the way back. I get you only had 2 timeouts, but you know why you only had 2 timeouts? You burned 3 timeouts in the first half when you were up by 20. You were up by 20, and you burned all those timeouts. Then you get into that second half there, and you only have 2 to burn. Now you don't use your time out there on that comeback trail. You can't settle down the troops. You expect them to be able to figure it out themselves. And, well, apparently they weren't prepared enough to do that because that's what we saw. I mean, I like Greg Gard. I vouched for Paul Chryst. I did not think Paul Chryst was a terrible football coach. I really didn't. I was not the first in line to fire Paul Chryst when he was fired. I was not the first in line to say, let's do it. I was behind the scenes saying, I don't think he's that bad. I really don't think he's that bad. And yet they fired him. At the end of the day, they fired him. If you look at Paul Chryst's records at Madison, pretty darn good records. But could not win the big game for the Badgers, could not get him over the hump. And that's why Paul Chryst was let go. My only question is how long does Greg Gard stay at Madison? This McIntosh is now the AD down there. He didn't give Paul Chryst a very short leash or a very long leash. What kind of leash does Greg Gard have here? How long are you going to sit with this where if Greg Gard cannot get this team with all the experience that they have, if he cannot get them to the second weekend of the tournament, does that equal fire? Does that equal we need to find somebody else to bring into town? I mean, you can buy coaches. We did not think Luke Fickell would come to Madison, and yet Luke Fickell ended up in Madison. They will spend money. Wisconsin's got some money that they will spend. Are we? I don't know. I want to hear your opinion. What do you think of this whole situation? I know it's just 3 games. A lot of people say it's just 3 games. But if you look at a collective whole over the years of Greg Gard's performances in big games and some of his play calling in those big games, it makes you really question what it is Greg Gard is good at, what he's not good at. And you look at the development of players, and where are we really seeing the development of these guys? They come in as one-dimensional cats and they leave as one-dimensional cats. Look at Tyler Wall. We talked about it there in the preseason. We said we were hoping Tyler Wall found some kind of outside game because he would be dominant if he found some kind of outside game. He still doesn't have it. He can't turn around and pull up a jump shot. That's just the development, the simple things in development projects that I'm not seeing right now in Madison, and it worries me. Even if you bring in the best recruits, what tells you that they're going to get any better when they step on the court?
Now, Trage, we can't forget Greg Gard. This guy has not been through a lot, but he's coached since 2015, 2016. He's taken the Badgers. He's 6-5 in the tournament, which isn't a good record by any means. But he's given them a chance. He's made to his first 2 years coaching. This is when he had Bo Ryan's recruits still. Made to the Sweet 16 both years. One of them we lost on a buzzer beater to Florida. So you can argue that we probably should have made to the final or the Elite Eight in one of those years. The next year, I'm pretty sure we lost to Notre Dame, which was not good. I remember that game too. But this Greg Gard guy, he's 2-time Big Ten regular season champ in 2020 and 2022. He's a 2-time Big Ten Coach of the Year, both those seasons also. And we also didn't even get a chance in 2019, 2020, when we won the Big Ten to have a tournament run there because of COVID. And I think at that year, towards the end of the year, our team was kind of firing all cylinders. And I mean, from the predictions or whatever, there were some predictions out there saying that the Badgers could have won it all. But we'll never know. We'll never know, Trage. Greg Gard's not that bad of a coach, but we see these times when stuff happens like this where we'll kind of just fall apart for a few games. It just doesn't look good. And it does make you wonder, is Greg Gard the right guy? I don't know, because I feel like we have to see more than just 3 games here. Obviously, he's going to finish out the regular season, see what he can do in the tournament, everything like that. And then we'll see what goes from there. But you make a good point. Paul Chryst, kind of the same situation, lost a few games, but the football, you play what in football, like 12 games? And the reason for Paul Chryst getting fired was maybe because we could not beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, but also that year that Paul Chryst got fired, we were not good. We were not good. We barely made, what was it, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, Trajan? We barely made that bowl. So we were not a good team by any means. And this team, we play how many games? There's like 20-something games. So there's a little bit more, there's a difference in the percent or like the ratio of games there. I think Greg Gard, if he went 500 this year, no doubt it'd be a question. But this team is still in a good spot to win something pretty big here. You just got to give us a chance, get through the not just get through the regular season, obviously win a lot of these games here, but give us a chance in the NCAA tournament and see what we can do from there, and then reevaluate. Because just to not freak out, but say that Greg Gard's not a good coach. He has made some questionable decisions. I feel like I'm being like Rogan right now, but someone's got to be Rogan. He's not here. So, but I think in the long run, Greg Gard has kind of been a successor to Bo Ryan. He hasn't been able to do what Bo Ryan did and take us to 2 Final Fours, but I think those 2 Badger teams that we had were pretty much once in the blue moon type of teams right there. And I don't think we've had the same recruits as those teams too. I think it'll be interesting to see what the Badgers do, but got to finish out the regular season, hopefully on a high note, and then we'll reevaluate at the end of the year to see what to do with Greg Gard. And I feel like we say this every year. As Badger fans, we've almost said this every year about Greg Gard, that they go on this little stretch here that they'll lose a couple games where we're like, fire Greg Gard, he's terrible, whatever. And then he pops out in 2020, 2022 and wins Big Ten Coach of the Year and wins a conference championship in both those years. So it's like, what are you supposed to do? This man has proven that he's won. I just had it up on Wikipedia. His all-time record is 180 and 100. So he's a 643% percentage there, which is above 500. That's better than a lot of coaches. Greg Gard, his salary, $3.55 million. Is there a guy that's worth that much that's better? Possibly, but Greg Gard has proven that he's able to coach in the Big Ten and be successful in it, even though sometimes it may not seem like it, like we have seen the past few games here. But overall, Greg Gard is the coach, and we're gonna have to live with it as Badger fans, and he's gonna be here for the rest of the year. They're not just, especially with what 7 games left, Trage. They're not gonna fire him now.
He's not going to get canned by the end of the year.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he'll get canned this year yet.
It's gonna be at the end of the year, but I don't think you look at it like this. We're gonna make the tournament. I think as long as we win these games, we're going to make the tournament. And McIntosh is going to see that and be like, oh, we made the tournament again. We're probably going to keep Greg Gard. There's teams out there like Louisville. And like we were saying before, Louisville, who's god-awful now, who used to be really good, they are the teams that are looking for head coaches, not the Badgers. I don't think we're really looking for a basketball coach right now. So that's kind of where I stand at it, is Greg Gard, he's been here. We've seen how good he's been able to do. And I think the AD kind of has a little bit of trust in him just because of how long he's been in here and shown that he's been able to win, even though sometimes he makes questionable calls and his decisions are something that probably makes us pretty mad sometimes. But overall, Greg Gard is a winner, whether we like it or not.
I think the big thing that stands out to me with what you said was you look back at that 2014-2015 Badger team, right? The one that you said, Bo Ryan took them to the national championship game, and that team was loaded. Like you said, right? They were loaded up. Do you know what Frank Kaminsky came into college rated? If you go off of the star system, do you know what Frank Kaminsky was star-wise coming into college?
I think he was on ESPN. It said he was a 4.
3. He was a 3-star. He was a 3-star. Sam Decker was a 5-star. I'll give him that one. But you look down the line there, and you had a guy like Trayvon Jackson, who was technically the starting point guard for the Badgers. He was a 3-star coming into college. I believe I'm trying to find Nigel Hayes here. Nigel Hayes was a 3-star. You can keep going down the list there and try to build that team back. Ben Brust, I believe, was a 2 or 3-star coming into that year. Josh Gosser was a 2 or 3-star coming into college there. And Greg Gard, or not Greg Gard, but Bo Ryan developed those guys into one of the best starting 5s in America that year. He had one of the best basketball teams in college that season. And that's the big thing that I really, end of the day, I don't really worry about Greg Gard recruiting-wise as much. I think he sucks at getting in-state talent to stay home. I think that's 100%. What worries me is when he gets guys into Madison, they don't develop. That's my worry when I look at him. I mean, Stephen Crowell coming into college there, I was just trying to find him. He was a 4-star recruit coming in. A 4-star recruit. He had offers from the likes of Iowa, Northern Iowa, Colorado, Minnesota, and South Dakota. He chose Wisconsin over all of them. I look at some of these guys and I say, okay, where was the developmental level to these guys coming in and what the heck happened to them? And I think you brought up another good point there that I think I have to come to realize here is I got to give Greg Gard a couple years, right? And Marcus Landry even said this too. He said, you look at some of these guys, Greg Gard had Bo's guys for the first couple of years. Now he's got his guys. How does Greg Gard coach his guys? How do they develop? That's what I think I got to see. I have to see some improvement on that end before I can fully believe in Greg Gard, because right now, I think it comes down to when McIntosh looks at this Badger basketball team, does he believe that the Badgers had a better shot this season to do something special? I think that's the big thing that he looks at. You look at some of those Badger football teams. Some of them probably had a potential to do something more than what Paul Chryst got him to do. This season for the Badgers, does McIntosh believe that the Badgers could have won the Big Ten tournament or won the Big Ten championship in the regular season? Does he believe that? Without these losses as of late, would they have been able to do that? I don't know. And does he believe at the end of the day that it was Greg Gard's fault? It's going to be a big thing on McIntosh to see what he thinks end of the day there. But I agree. He's got a good winning percentage. You can't really take that away from him. I just wonder, end of the day, when McIntosh says, I'm done with mediocre, I want to get, because what you're telling, what we're seeing right now is average basketball, right? They get to the tournament every season, but there isn't that little bit more. There isn't that getting past that, first weekend, getting to that second weekend. That's kind of where I'm looking at right now, where he's got to prove that. He's got to prove that he can win the big game, because you look at the Badgers in the tournament there. I was just looking at, we say 2016 and 2017 were both Bo's guys. So then we look at 2019. They lost to number 12 Oregon, 72-54 in the first round. Then they lost to Baylor, which Baylor ended up going a ways in that tournament. The Badgers got in as a 9 seed in 2021. So not a bad tournament there. And then 2022, they ended up losing to Iowa State, like we said there. And then 2023, are we in the 2024? 2024 would be 2023. They didn't make the tournament. That's what it was. That was last year. I don't believe they made the tournament there.
No.
So that's where I'm kind of looking right now, is what does this season look like if you are the Wisconsin Badgers, and can you make it out of that first weekend if you're Greg Gard? And if it comes down to it, can you outcoach whoever you're up against? Whether it's St. John's and Rick Pitino, or if it's Iowa State team or somebody coming in there as an 11 seed, can you outcoach, somebody on the basketball court? That's what I think is going to be a big thing. If you believe at the end of the day the Badgers had the more talented team, they just lost outright because they got outcoached. You can't get outcoached. That's the big thing I look at. You can't get outcoached. And can Greg Gard get him past the first weekend? That's what I got to see for me to fully believe. I really do think the Badgers have a decent team. I just questionable over the last 3 games, but hopefully a bounce back here against Rutgers coming up this weekend. Also in action, Marquette will be taking on St. John's this weekend. So a couple big matchups there in college basketball. But with that, I want to talk about a couple more of our sponsors. First, Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood. If you have a sports injury or any kind of injury and you need some physical therapy, check out Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood. They will get you right and on your way. And also Game Day Supply in Onalaska. Do you have a sports club or team? Are you looking for some sweet custom uniforms or apparel? Check out the awesome crew at Game Day Supply to get yourself the sweetest gear. Find them on Facebook at Game Day Supply or online at GameDaySupply.net. But with that, I got to get to Austin here. Austin, give me your fact of the day.
On this day in 1980, Rick Barry of the Houston Rockets is the first in NBA history to score 8 3-pointers in a game. I feel like this is pretty interesting. The 3-point line came into the NBA in 1979. And that's when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird had their rookie season. And then Rick Barry was the first kind of guy. I feel like a lot of guys started probably shooting 3-pointers since then. Obviously, but like after that year, a lot of guys are like, oh, we got this new line that we can make 3-pointers. But Rick Barry is the first guy to make 8 3-pointers in a game. Rick Barry also had a very unique free throw style there. I'm pretty sure he did like a granny shot type. And his son played for Florida, I'm pretty sure. I forget his name, but he kind of adopted the same free throw shooting there
Yep.
as his father. And I thought that was pretty interesting because obviously everyone shoots overhand now these days, and it was just a little unique. But besides that, Rick Barry, first to score 8 3-pointers in a game. And now we got Steph Curry scoring like what? What is his? I forget what the record is in one game. I think it's like 12 or something.
I don't know. I think it's 12 or something like that. I don't know. That's something you'd have to figure out for me.
I'll look it up right now, real quick.
But with that, I want to get to our Wisconsin sports question of the day. What do you got for your Wisconsin sports question of the day in between your searching up the 3-point record?
Yeah, so Klay Thompson actually holds the record with 14 3-pointers in one game.
Didn't he do that without taking a dribble? Or he had only a couple dribbles?
I don't know, probably. He was kind of a catch and shoot type of player. He's never been much of a dribbler.
No. Yeah.
But my Wisconsin sports question of the day is, we talked about the Bucks earlier, and I don't want to make this a long topic, but you look at the Bucks record since Doc Rivers has joined the team, and we've talked about this a little bit. They're like 1-4 or something like that. They've lost a lot of games. Not a lot of games, but for how long Doc Rivers has been coaching, they've lost a lot of games. Was the move to Doc Rivers the right decision, going away from Adrian Griffin, even though how bad our defense was with Adrian Griffin? Our offense was, I feel like, firing all cylinders. Was that the right move to go to Doc Rivers? And then I saw a lot of people kind of say this is what happens when you kind of hire a big name and it doesn't go right with Doc Rivers. That's kind of my question. Was it the right move now that we're kind of seeing his first few games with the Bucks? I understand Bucks have a few injuries, but it has been a little interesting now that he is not really going the way that we thought it was going.
I think it's tough bringing in a coach mid-season. I think that's the big thing. And then looking at team personnel, Griffin was using a lot more of the bench, a lot different cast of characters. Doc Rivers is leaning more towards the starters right now. He's playing 40 minutes for the starters. The rest of the guys are getting maybe 10 minutes a game there. So I think that has a lot to do with it too. A lot of guys are getting fatigued. A lot of guys are getting gassed and they're not scoring the basketball like they were before. So that has a big thing to do with it too. So I don't know if it's a bad move by any means. I just believe that, Doc's got to figure out how to utilize this Bucks team to the best capability. And I think he was thrown into a tough situation mid-season to try and figure something out like that. So I think that's the big problem right now. I think he'll figure it out. I really do think he'll figure it out. I just don't know if the Bucks have the depth that Doc Rivers wants to be able to not have to use the starters as much as he does.
Yeah, that's true. It's definitely different coaching styles. Like you said, Doc Rivers, more of a starters play. Bench doesn't really play unless they kind of have to. Adrian Griffin seemed like he utilized the bench a lot more. So it's hard to tell he's only coached 5 games, 6 games now.
Yeah,
so
yep.
It's hard to tell right now. And hopefully after the All-Star break, we're able to see that a little bit more and the Bucks are able to regroup and kind of move on from that first half and see what we're able to do in the second half here and hopefully make a playoff push towards the end of the year. It's definitely going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, 100%. So I got my Wisconsin. It's going to be a Wisconsin question of the day. Not really Wisconsin sports, but a Wisconsin question of the day. So I saw another group do this, and I want to do it ourselves. Now, if you aren't from the state of Wisconsin, you've never heard of Quick Trip. It is a gas station. Pretty good food. I mean, one of the better. I mean, I've went down to Texas. I've been to Minnesota, Iowa, all around, and this is probably top tier quality food there at Quick Trip. So I wanted to give our top 5 hot foods at Quick Trip. So I figured we could go 1-1. We could go back and forth and give your top 5. So if you had to pick your number 1, what you're getting when you go look at the hot food section, what are you grabbing?
Rib sandwich, Trage.
Rib sandwich. That is a good
on
one.
Tuesdays, specifically on Tuesdays. I'm pretty sure that's rib sandwich day when they got the deals. They're like $1.90 something. Oh, you grab 2 of them, bro. Oh, rib sandwiches, man. Those are good.
I'm gonna go double cheeseburger with the bacon on it.
That's solid.
That's the one.
I haven't been much of a cheeseburger guy when I go into Quick Trip. I'm not gonna lie. I've gotten it a couple times, but that's not really my forte.
Okay.
With my number 2, there's a couple that stand out. I'm gonna go with their. I might go with their breadsticks. Their breadsticks are a classic, but you got to get the marinara sauce with them. Got to get the marinara sauce with them.
True that. I'm going broccoli bites. The new broccoli bites that they have there, the cheesy broccoli bites that they have. Oh my gosh!
Not much of a veggie guy. I'm not much of a veggie guy.
That is probably the best broccoli bites I've ever had. Broccoli bites from Quick Trip.
Now this might be a generic pick, but you got to hear me out. Their chicken strips, Trage.
Chicken strips are good.
They're jumbo chicken strips. You get there's 3 of them in a package, but you gotta get. It's like a smoke. It's like a smoky sauce. It's some smoky sauce. That's you gotta get the sauce with it, kind of like the marinara sauce, the breadsticks. You gotta get the smoky sauce with the chicken strips. It just completes the package. That's usually what I get there. Sometimes.
That's a good one. That is a good one. I'm gonna go the cheese stuffed spuds. The cheese stuffed spuds are pretty good. I mean, I gotta say.
I can't say I've had them a whole lot of times, but I have had them before, and they are pretty good. They are pretty good.
They're good stuff. They're good stuff.
Now I'm just trying to think here. I'm gonna go with my fourth pick. I've had this a couple times. They're boneless buffalo wings, or not buffalo, but barbecue. I'm more of a barbecue guy, but they also have garlic parm and buffalo. That's I get that occasionally when they got it. Pretty solid option there. But you got to get the ranch. It's a combo deal. But if you're not a ranch person, I guess you don't got to get the ranch. If you're not a ranch person, you don't got to get the ranch. But I usually get ranch with it.
Ranch is good with the boneless wings. I'm going breakfast. I'm going to go sausage croissant. The sausage croissant is pretty darn good.
I completely forgot about breakfast, Trage. Not gonna lie.
You got to remember the breakfast, man.
With my last pick, give me the waffle sausage sandwich.
That's a solid one. The waffle sandwich.
I feel like that was, I completely forgot. I was going to go with pizza, but their pizza can be subpar sometimes. Sometimes it sits out there a little bit too long, you know?
This is true. My last pick, I'm going to go with Roller Bites. The chicken, it's like a breaded chicken. It's breading and it's got chicken on the inside, and then in there is like cheese, different types of cheese. There's Monterey Jack, there's buffalo. Oh man, is that good? I'm going with the Roller Bites with my last pick.
Can I say an honorable mention?
Honorable mention.
The Strombolis, Trage. I don't know if you remember these, but they used to have Strombolis, and they used to be the best things. Like, if they still had them, I haven't seen them in forever. That would probably be number one, top tier pepperoni stromboli. But I haven't seen them in forever. I don't know if they discontinued them or what. I don't know. But oh man, those strombolis, Trage. I'd get them before baseball sometimes, before a game, or like before a basketball game right there. Oh, smack a stromboli, so good.
They are. I'll give you that one. If I had to pick an honorable mention, I don't even know. That's tough. There's a lot of good ones. I'm going to go that new pulled pork sandwich that they have. That pulled pork sandwich is pretty good from Quick Trip. I'll take that one.
Can't say I've had that. I usually stick to my comfort foods, you know? The ones I like. Because I know it'll make me happy, you know?
That's fair. That is fair. So, moving out of the Quick Trip foods, we got to get into the Super Bowl. We got to talk about it. It's coming up this weekend. We have to jump into it. So, looking at the Super Bowl here, Austin, right away, I mean, who are you liking?
I told you this before, way earlier, Trage. Mixed emotions. I want to go. I don't know who to pick for because I don't like either teams, quite honestly. But if I had to pick one, for the sole fact that they're on the NFC side and the Packers lost to them, I'm going to cheer for the 49ers. Brock Purdy, he got injured last year in the NFC Championship game, if anyone can remember or recall that. And probably one of the reasons why they didn't make the Super Bowl last year. This year he's back. They made the Super Bowl. Really good defense. Really good defense. We've seen Kansas City struggle sometimes, but like I said earlier, I can't remember when it was. I said it either earlier in this week or last week. Roger Goodell claims that the Super Bowl is not scripted, but I don't know. We'll see after this game. But I like the 49ers. I like the 49ers, but the Kansas City Chiefs are playing some pretty good football right now, but I like the 49ers.
I like Kansas City's defense. I got to say, if I went to two defenses compared to each other, I would take Kansas City's defense. You know, a lot of people overlook the defense simply because Patrick Mahomes is on that team, but Kansas City's defense has been playing well. You look at that game against Baltimore, they held Baltimore there, controlled Lamar Jackson, did everything they had to do. This is an impressive defense. I think the offense for Kansas City can do just enough that if the defense plays up to par, I think they take care of business in this one. I mean, you look at it simply. Remember when the Broncos won the Super Bowl over the Panthers? Same ordeal. Same ordeal here. The defense for the Chiefs could win this Super Bowl, and all Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City have to do is put up like 2 touchdowns, maybe 17 points, and they might be able to win this game. It's going to be a tall task because the 49ers, I mean, pretty good offense in their own right. But if you avoid playing a zone defense against them and you kind of just, you go man to man and you just slow them down as much as you can. I mean, Brandon Ayuk, very good receiver, but if you disrupt him, Brock Purdy's quarterbacks are all about timing, but Brock Purdy is big for his timing. Timing is a big thing with Brock Purdy. We saw it against the Packers there. They disrupted a couple of routes there. I think they had a couple with Kittle, and Brock Purdy just missed the throw because a lot of the 49ers, the offense runs around timing. And if this Kansas City team just disrupts that a little bit, it's going to throw the 49ers for a loop. And I think that's going to be a big thing in this one. I like the Chiefs. I cannot pick against the Chiefs until they prove me wrong. So I got the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. The Chiefs' defense has been playing really good, and they got some really good corners too. L'Jarius Sneed, one of their best corners. You saw him play against the Ravens there, and he was locking down. He gave up a few big passes to Zay Flowers, but besides those few, he was playing pretty much lockdown defense. The linebackers for that team are playing really good. They got Tranquil and Chanel, who's from Wisconsin, by the way. And their D-line, Jones on the front there, really good. So their defense has been playing tough, and we've seen the 49ers struggle, even against the Packers, who didn't have a strong defense, the Lions, who had a decent defense, but better than the Packers, but nothing too exciting. I mean, even the Packers were able to shred up against the Lions defense. But the 49ers were able to come back both games. So they got that extra juice in them that they might be able to sneak out that I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs have been able to find. You know, they played against the Ravens, who I don't think the Ravens have played down a whole lot this year, that were playing down and had to come back. And I think that's why the Ravens weren't able to come back. They struggled a lot in that second half. They scored a field goal and that's it. And so it's definitely going to be interesting. This game, I mean, honestly, for how much I dislike both of these teams, because, well, for one, Kansas City, we've seen the Super Bowl 4 times out of 5 years or something like that. And 49ers, we just lost to them, and we should have beat them. It's going to be a good Super Bowl. No doubt about that. I'm excited to watch it on Sunday, and it's crazy. I'm pretty sure we talked about this before, how crazy the ticket prices are. They're in like the thousands of dollars. So I'll be happy sitting in the comfort of my home on my living room couch watching the Super Bowl. Should be going. Interesting to see the Super Bowl commercials also. Crazy how much those cost too. Millions of dollars going to those. So we've seen a kind of a drop off from the Super Bowl commercials, I feel like, but hopefully we get a couple good ones here. It keeps you engaged while there's timeouts on the field and everything, but should be a good one, and I'm excited to watch it, Trage.
%. I agree with you there. It should be a good game. And I wanted to, there's a lot of prop bets. So I wanted to do the prop bets here. I want to do a little betting with you. We're not throwing down real money, so nobody believe we're throwing down real money here. But we're going to look at the prop bets. We're going to see which ones we like. So I'm looking at the sheet here of some of the prop bets that are coming up. Reba McEntire is doing the national anthem. And her last rendition of the Star Spangled Banner took like 83 seconds. Now, the prop bet for this one is the length of the national anthem in seconds, over under 87.5 seconds. What do you think? What are you taking in that one? Do you think she'll be over 87.5 or do you think she'll be under?
I feel like when she sang it last, she was a little bit younger, possibly. And she sang it at 83. Now she's a little bit older, might not have that stamina as much. I might have to take the under on this one, Trich.
You think she's going to be under it? Okay.
I think she's going to be consistent with what she sang it with last time.
It's Reba. Come on, I mean.
She might go a little bit more crazy, true, but I'm going to go the under.
I'm going to take the over. I think she's going to hold it. I think she's going to hold a few notes in there, and she's going to take it over.
Nothing will beat Chris Stapleton's rendition of the national anthem. That that blows everything out of the water. I can't remember. Was that last year's Super Bowl? I'm pretty sure.
Last year. Yep.
Yeah, that
year.
blew everything out of the water. I don't think anything will be able to beat that.
I would have taken him for a halftime show. Or for a halftime show. After he sang that, I was like, I could take this as a halftime show and I could just be A-okay with life. I have always been okay if they put a country singer at halftime. I would get over it. I really would. Because some of these halftime shows, I mean, Katy Perry and all them, I get it. They're pop. They're get up and dance kind of things. But 3/4 of the people are sitting at home. Who cares? We just want a good halftime show. I think they would listen to Chris Stapleton at halftime.
Yeah, I would.
I would. So, next one, coin toss result. Do you think the coin toss will be heads or tails?
Tails never fails, baby.
Tails never fails. I'm going to take an edge. I'm going to take the left edge. It's going to land perfectly upright. Nah, I'm kidding. I'm going to take heads.
Remember when the Packers played, I'm pretty sure it was against the Cardinals in some division round. It was like the divisional round. And they flipped the coin didn't flip. And then the Packers won the toss, but the coin didn't flip technically, so they had to reflip, ended up losing it, and that's when Larry Fitzgerald had his long ass run, and I'm like, oh come on, we should have had it. You should have had the ball. But what if the coin just doesn't flip, Drage? That would be quite the predicament.
What if they mess up? What if they mess up and there's two heads?
Well, usually it's like symbols or something. And they're like, this is going to be the head side, this is going to be tail side. It's not – let's just get an old-fashioned George Washington quarter and flip that baby, see where it lands. Why do we got to have symbols and everything? It's a fat coin always, too. It's always super.
I agree. George Washington should be the face of the Super Bowl. There you go.
Hey, so we wouldn't have football without him, Trey. Let's just be honest here.
This is true. So, game winner. You picked the 49ers, right? You said 49ers?
I'm going to pick the 49ers. I'm going to stand by my word with having to pick them before, so I'm going to pick them again.
I'm going to take the Chiefs. I will take the Chiefs to win that game. This is a tough one. First offensive play of the game. Will it be a run or a pass?
Run. I think both teams – well, if it's Kansas City – it's going to be Pacheco. If it's 49ers, obviously they're going to hit the ball off the CMC. Now, it could be interesting. Kansas City could pass the ball to Travis Kelce, but I think they'd run it. I think both teams would run it. That's what everyone kind of does. Unless they're going to take a shot right away, but
Yeah, I could see somebody taking a shot to start it out. That'd be an interesting start to the game right there. So, will there be a score within the first 6 minutes and 59 seconds in this game?
That's a tough one. You look at the 49ers, and the Lions and the Packers both took very long times to score their first touchdown against them. Kansas City, when they played, I'm pretty sure they took a little bit to score there. I think it's going to be over 6 minutes. I think it's going to be I think both defenses are going to be strong enough to hold them to last out 6 minutes. I think it's going to be a little bit there.
Yeah, I'm going to say no, too. I don't think there will be a score right off the bat. Which team scores first? 49ers or Chiefs?
Kansas City. I'm going to go with Kansas City on this. Yeah.
I'm going to take KC too. 49ers have been starting out slow in every game they've played so far. I'm going to take KC too. Jersey number of the first touchdown score, odd or even?
I'm going to go even. Banking on the fact that Patrick Mahomes doesn't run it in or throw it to Travis Kelce.
Even for Austin. I'm going to take odd. I just got that feeling that Travis Kelce is going to score the first touchdown of the Super Bowl.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you there. It's a good pick.
So we're going to go, you picked even, and I'm going to take odd. So this one gets a little bit tougher. First accepted penalty will be against 49ers Chiefs.
I'm going to say Chiefs. Just because their offensive line is a little bit more risky, and they got the most penalized offensive line too. I feel like they're going to have some sort of infraction on them right away. If they get the ball right away, I feel like something's going to happen.
So you're going to take the Chiefs there. I'm going to take the 49ers. I think the 49ers will have the first penalty of the game there. Okay, I'm going to skip over the rest of these because I don't like these ones. These are a little more technical. We're going to get to Will there be a missed extra point or 2-point conversion in this game? Yes or no?
The 2-point conversion adds a little bit of spice into there.
I'm going to go yes, just because of how many extra points we've seen missed this year.
I'm going to say no because they're in a dome. So if they miss it, then they actually suck.
You think Anders Carlson would be perfect in the dome?
Well, I don't know. Was he? We played in Las Vegas against the Raiders. He might have missed one there.
This is true. So, Gatorade bath color. You get to pick the color of the Gatorade bath. It's either water, clear, orange, or any other color. Those are your options. Okay, no. Your options are water. Your options are water, clear, or any color.
Blue.
It's one whole thing. It's either orange or any other color.
Any other color.
You don't have to pick blue outright. You just have to
any other color.
Is it going to be water, clear, or color?
Color.
Okay, we're going to take color. I'm going to go.
You be a water guy. You be a Diet Dew guy.
Water. A Diet Dew guy. I'm a big Diet Dew. Andy Reid will have a cheeseburger. I'm going to pick my own prop bet here. Will Andy Reid have a cheeseburger after the Super Bowl if they win?
Probably. Not right after the Super Bowl, but like within the next coming days, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to take if they win or lose, he will have a cheeseburger after that game. I don't think it really matters to him whether they win or lose.
Probably
this guy's
not.
eating a cheeseburger after that. I was trying to find the one. There's got to be a prop bet about Taylor Swift. I guarantee it. There's got to be one about T Swift out there. I was trying to find that one. Let's see if we can find one here.
There's probably
That's Reba.
It's probably an over-under on how many times the cameras pan to her during the game. I'm sure there's one on that.
Here it is. Numerous Taylor Swift props for the Super Bowl, including whether she will be shown on the broadcast during the national anthem. Do you think they will show Taylor Swift on the
100%. 100%. Because they're going to be like, why isn't Taylor Swift singing the national anthem?
This is true. And then it also says she is currently negative 130 to not be shown during the Star Spangled Banner. And she is also minus 135 to be shown before Jason Kelce during the anthem. So they think they might show Jason Kelce on there too. Wow, interesting.
Interesting there. What if they show him at the same time?
I don't know.
Jason Kelce's what if they're in there? I don't know.
What if they're just standing next to each other? What if Jason Kelce's already loaded?
As long as I don't see Brittany Mahomes, I don't really care.
This is true. Everybody in the Super Bowl is just waiting for a shirtless Jason Kelce to jump out of the booth. That's what everybody's waiting for.
I've been waiting for it since he did it against the Bills.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just hoping to see that in this one. So with that, anything else we got to add for the day here?
Trage, it's time to hit the weekend, baby. Let's get into it.
It is time to hit the weekend, and you forgot to say it, TGI Friday. TGI
Thank God it's Friday, baby.
Today. Yes, sir. Thank God it is Friday. But with that, that's about all we got. Badgers coming up this weekend, 11 o'clock Saturday, hoping for a bounce-back win. Marquette coming up at 5 o'clock, taking on St. John's. Other than that, you got the Super Bowl coming up this weekend. Big weekend for sports. But with that, that's about all we got for today. We talked about a lot. This has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys back here on Monday, hoping for a Badgers win, and we're talking about something good again. But with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys back here Monday. Until then, deuces.